I had complete burnout. Way to just relieve some of that stress was on a Thursday afternoon, I started giving classes to children. I called it mini architecture at the time. More kids wanted to join, I ended up having a wait list. So Steph and I, we were having lunch and she said to me, Christelle, why didn't you franchise this? And I did the spreadsheet. I actually quit my job the next day.
What?
We had a lucky break. We were approached by a local channel and we were on TV. And we had over 1,000 applications
During the broadcast.
Yeah.
What?
But then COVID hit. And we went from a big income to zero in 1 month.
That was Christelle and Stefanie, two sisters who flew 26 hours from South Africa to be here for this interview. One is an architect, the other an engineer, who now help people in 91 countries start their own kids' STEM craft clubs. And today we talk about why they blew up a 61 location franchise on purpose and the $1,000 a month math behind running a club 1 hour a week. And we're also going to talk about a huge milestone that they hit this year, and it's not what you'd guess. Let's get into it.
Well, ladies, I am so excited to have you here, flying all the way from South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Stu.
Okay, so you've just taken a long journey to come over here to North America, and I'm super pumped to talk to you because you have built this incredible business. And we were talking off camera before we got started about just what it means to have this business. And I'm wondering if you can kind of touch on what it means to have the business that you have. And then we'll get into the specifics of what is the business, how you built it, the strategies behind it. But why do you love having the business that you got?
We love it because it gives us complete freedom, gives us complete flexibility. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And we love the hustle. We really, really enjoy getting up in the morning and trying to figure out our next move. And with that, we don't work crazy hours. We just shared it with you now. And it's something that is ours, and we get to build on it, and creates the snowball effect with memberships, and the ripple effect onto our members. And then, we'll share a bit later exactly what we do, but then onto kids as well. So it's just that snowball and the impact and the empowerment that it just means everything to us.
Well, it's been amazing to watch the growth that you two have experienced. And I want to unpack also working with family, because this is a whole thing. I get questions about this all the time as well. So we'll get to that. But let's go back to how this business began, because both of you did not start with the ambition of, hey, I want to start my own business. So where did the seed of the idea come from?
I ran an architectural firm for many years, and I had lots of staff. I had big overheads. You pay a lot of money to hire architects. And I had complete burnout. And a way to just relieve some of that stress was on a Thursday afternoon, I started giving classes to children. I called it mini architecture at the time. And we would just build cool stuff. We built rockets that shoot into the air and cars that drive with elastic bands. And we just had a whole bunch of fun. And that class, which started out as just having some friends, kids join. I didn't have kids at the time. It just turned into something where more kids wanted to join, and I ended up having a wait list. And then one of the moms said to me, why don't you put a lesson plan together for each week, and then we can have a class at my house with the other kids, and we can experience the same thing. So Steph and I, we were having lunch, I think it was somewhere during that time, and she said,
I was still in corporate.
She was in corporate. She comes from an engineering background, hard grind, 9 to 5, stuck in a day job. And we were having lunch, and she said to me, Christelle, why don't you franchise this? You're onto something here. And I was like, I've already got lots of staff. I'm like in the middle of a burnout. I was like, why don't you franchise this? So the nerd that she is.
So I did a spreadsheet that night, obviously. You do a spreadsheet. And then the next, I think I was so ready for something new. I was so bored with corporate. I had a big team, and it was just like, 8 to 5, boring. And I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. So when she planted the seed and I did the spreadsheet, I actually quit my job the next day.
What?
And when we went all in,
I was like, holy...
Wait a minute. Okay.
The next day.
You quit your job the next day. So what went through your mind to be like, I'm going?
I just saw that she's sitting on something that is a huge, there's demand for it. And I saw that, the other mums are asking for it. And so we will have an opportunity to empower women who want to create cash flow and spend this awesome time with kids and be creative, but also the kids, like the super skills that the kids learn through the STEM crafting, because STEM crafting is something we just came up with, STEM crafting. But what it is it's really crafts that it's not just painting and sticking. It's crafts that you build from recycled items that actually could do stuff that kids can play with. So like Christelle said, building a rocket that can actually launch into the sky and creating that car with elastic bands and not getting it right the first time and like figuring out how to make it work so that and so that the car can drive. So that part really excited me as an engineer as well. And
STEM is a term that we all know. It's science, technology, engineering, and math, but integrating this crafting element away from screens with children. And we call it super skills. They develop super skills, the skills that you need to have jobs that we don't even know is going to be in the future, jobs that doesn't even exist yet.
Right.
Problem solving, cognitive thinking, those kinds of things. And it's a bunch of fun. The kids love it.
All right. I want to ask you, Christelle, when she quits her job and is like, okay, let's go for it. What are you thinking and feeling in that moment?
I was like, oh boy, because I know my sister. Yeah. So we ended up franchising up to 61 locations into 3 countries.
If you feel like you should be taking notes right now, don't sweat it. I've put it all in a free kit linked below for you.
And these moms and creatives and teachers were running their own kids' STEM-based craft clubs, and mostly at schools, after school clubs. We had a team of 7. It was going really well. I started scaling down architecture.
So I was just going to ask, were you in that moment, like, were you still doing the architecture stuff?
No, I realized that I had to get out. So we started building this new machine, and it was amazing. The women were so empowered and everybody was really having a great time. But then COVID hit. And we went from this great business.
Because it's an in-person club.
It's an in-person club.
Yeah.
And all these hundreds of kids were doing these classes with all these in these locations. Yeah. And we went from a big income to 0 in 1 month.
Wow.
And then we felt like we needed to come up with something for our franchisees because they were dependent on this income and they were looking at us for solutions. But I have to mention, at the same time, I was doing my thesis on franchising because I started having questions about if we had the right business model. I loved our business, but the business model wasn't sitting quite right.
Unpack that for me. What was the business model? Were the franchisees paying?
So they buy into a franchise, they have their own branch, and then they use our name. We give them the lesson plans, we train them, we help them with marketing, and they run their own business. But that's the thing.
Fees.
They don't, like, now these are creative women teachers, but they don't have any creative freedom, because for us to keep the brand reputation intact, you can't give them creative freedom.
Right.
But it's a creative business. So that bothered me a lot.
It was
because they will go rogue and do some weird projects if you let them. So you can't, then it damages the brand. So that was bothering me a lot because, they have to be creative. I mean, it just takes the fun out of it if you need to follow like exactly what we do. And also, like, our idea was to empower these women so that they could be business owners. But some of them called us boss ladies, and they were like looking for us to tell them what the next thing is to do. And we're like, no, but you are the business owner. Like, you are the one that, needs to drive things. So, those things. And also, like, with a franchise, you need to buy into a franchise. So there's this upfront investment needed.
Yeah.
And
it's a high barrier to entry, because the runway is a bit long. It's quite long, and you have to make sure they're profitable. So it was a business decision to determine that fee.
So how were you selling the franchise? Because 61 locations, I mean, that grew pretty quickly.
We had a lucky break. We were approached by a local channel, and we were on TV. And we had over 1,000 applications
during the broadcast.
What?
And so
some of them were from outside of South Africa. We had applications from up in Africa, New Zealand, America.
Wow.
So that was the first thing. Like, we need to find a solution to be able to scale this across borders.
So you were on that broadcast, you mentioned that, you're doing these clubs and that you are, looking for franchisees to do it in their local areas. And you sent them to a website and boom, you got 1,000.
Yeah, we had a very simple Google form. They went there and we just got like 1,000 applications.
It was an hour-long insert. It was quite something. It was nice, but The thing is with these STEM-based craft clubs, the videos of the teachers crafting with the kids, it sells themselves. It is,
and the kids' faces and the enjoyment.
Fun. It is so unbelievably fun.
Yeah.
So people are watching this and like, I can do this. I want to do this. And I mean, we don't come from an educational background, and we ran our club.
Yeah.
So it's very, the barrier is quite low. Anybody can do it.
And for the women who are running these clubs, it's a win. It's like, hey, we want to, bring the kids together. And then number two, we want to do something that is going to like help them become better problem solvers and so forth.
Perfect, amazing.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Like when we started, we thought stay-at-home moms would be our market. But what we saw is it was the educators, it was the teachers that this appealed to, because they love working with kids. But like teaching every day and the rigid like school system and the curriculum, that it takes the fun out of it for them. And they don't get paid much, and they have like really long hours. So they're exhausted. And like many of our members now also, they reach like burnout, and then they like start their clubs because they still want to work with kids. They love working with kids because they're teachers. That's why they got into it. But they just want to do it in a more fun way. So we see this with our members all the time where, so the one member, Erin, I was just talking to Christelle about her this morning. Like she was a full-time teacher, and then she went on maternity leave, and she had the two young kids. And then when she was on a maternity leave, she joined the CCC Academy, and she reached out to 20 schools to start a STEM-based craft club. And then 6 of them said yes.
Wow.
So by the time her maternity leave was up, she had created enough income that she could actually not go back to teaching. She didn't have to put her kids in childcare. She could have them with her, run her craft club in the afternoons, and she netted more from her craft club in 6 months or something crazy. So
wow.
And then she got her joy back from teaching, working with kids, and now she's also an example to her kids because she's like got her own thing. She's passionate about it. She's happy again.
There's so many of these examples.
So you go to the franchising route. You're feeling a little tension because it's like it's working, but there's something that's off about it. And then COVID brings that decision right to the forefront because now these women can't run these clubs because the world is shutting down. We're not in person. So what goes through your mind? Because in that moment, like something you can't control just changes everything. What goes through your mind?
So I think what I was saying earlier is that we felt a responsibility for our franchisees to help them, be able to continue making money during COVID, not teaching in person. And also there was this thing of like this thing bothering me about the business model and how can we, change it up while we have the opportunity. And then also the international applications we got for the franchise.
It's a nice email list.
Yeah. It's a nightmare to franchise across borders. So that was also the thing. Nightmare. And then Christelle said, what about like we had just heard somewhere that you can do online courses. And I was like, is that something we can do? So we go to Google. It's like how to do an online course. So we came across Amy Porterfield, of course.
Okay.
And then we were binging her podcast. And then she had an interview with you. And that's how we met you on her podcast. And then I said, Christelle, like there's something better than online courses. It's called a membership. And she's like, is that something we can do? I was like, I think so. Stu says so. And what I loved about it and how you framed it in that interview is I saw with our franchisees that they needed ongoing support. It's not like you can just teach them the course and then cheers, like good luck. They needed ongoing support, especially as they grow. Then, they come across different challenges. So the membership it sounded perfect. We quickly put a few resources together.
We had this big window at Steph's house that we scribbled on. And do you remember that?
Yeah, those pink markers.
The pro and the cons list of like the franchise and the membership and an online course. And I mean, we did a lot of research before we made the decision to pivot. And then we did make the pivot and we defranchised, and our franchisees became our biggest ambassadors. So they got lifetime access and they are still our biggest ambassadors. We've interviewed them. We still see them. We've got them on personal chat. So we're still good friends with them and they get the benefit of everything that we have within our.
And so the promise of the membership was, we're going to do the thinking for you. We're going to provide you lesson plans. We're going to provide you guidance and support. But at the same time, the difference between the membership and the franchise is that you also have creative flexibility. So you can use our stuff, but you can add your own spin on it. And there's no royalty fees.
Yeah.
So what you make is what you keep, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's no big upfront fee for the new people joining in, which is a huge plus.
So what did you charge for the membership?
$27
a month.
Okay.
When we just started out. But we built it as we grew. We did a founding member launch.
Yeah.
And we shared it with our list that we had at the time. And we used all the learnings that we had from the franchise because we know how to run these classes. We know how to make them profitable. And we started building the membership as we grew. So now obviously it's more, but it's something that evolved and we had our members help us shape it.
Okay. I'm fascinated by all of this. And there's so many directions I want to go. One is I want to talk about like, you have now all these members all around the world who are starting these STEM craft clubs. And what's in it for them? Like when you're explaining the opportunity to them, what can a stay-at-home mom or anybody, an educator, as you said, who wants to start these clubs, what could they typically make with these kinds of clubs?
So in the US, I'd say about 60-70% of our members are on North America. And we did some research with the help of the members, and you can charge on average, depending on the state and the area that you're in, but $25 per class per kid. Wow. So if you do just, one class a week and you have like 10 kids in your class, then you make $250 that week. So you can make $1,000 for that month just running one class for 1 hour a week.
Wow.
And then obviously our members scale it up like crazy. Some of them, have hired lots of instructors and they run many classes a week. So they make a bunch of money.
Can make a very good income.
But again, you can decide if you want to make a lot of money with it, you can. And there's absolutely the demand for it and people are willing to pay for it. And like Christelle said, people want their kids away from screens. They want them to learn these skills. We also help our members to explain, how STEM crafting is different from anything else out there. So, but there's also members that don't want to make money. Like I'm thinking of Michaela, who teaches, she's in the US and she teaches kids in India online. She teaches them crafting online and they use recycled materials so they can take part. And then for her, it's just, it's free. It's a heart project. So that's the other thing that I loved about the membership is they can decide what this becomes. If they just run a club for their kids at home or if they scale it up to like a huge business, it's completely in their control.
When I think about the membership, it then takes on a whole nother dimension. It's like, you're providing the lesson plans and making it easy for them to be able to run these clubs. But at the same time, I'm sure you're also guiding them on how to grow the business and the marketing of the business and the positioning, as you were saying. And there's a whole element to that as well. Let's talk about this membership journey. How have you grown the membership? What's been I would say like the one or two tactics or strategies that have really helped you grow and get the word out?
Yes, I think we've tried all of the tactics. We've done all the things. We had our founding member launch. We had coaching weeks. But what really worked for our audience is our free workshop. Okay. And so it's a 60-minute thing. And it's educators, it's mums, it's people who are busy. So they can manage 60 minutes in that workshop. We show them what's possible. And we have a lot of videos of our members like sharing their experiences. And we try to show, different examples of teachers and stay-at-home moms and creatives and people coming from corporate and starting their clubs where they share their experience so everyone can relate with someone's story. So it's not just us talking. Yeah. And then we like what we find with our audience is they exactly like we were when we started our club. They want to do everything. They're so excited and they want to run classes for like toddlers and school kids and adults and seniors.
Do parties and kits and online
and all the things. So that's one of the exercises in the workshop is where we help them with the sticky note challenge to pick one thing. Yeah. So they get everything out there and then we talk them through the steps of how to pick the one thing that they'll be starting out with. And we do the back of the napkin exercise. And then at the end of the workshop, they actually have a date in the calendar of
to launch,
to do a soft launch.
Give them the lesson plans to launch. Yeah. So by the end of the workshop, they've got all the information they need to do a launch. It's a lot of value and it's all our learnings. It's only 60 minutes. So not in a lot of detail. but it's very powerful.
So how do you get people to the workshop? Is it ads that you're using to drive there?
We run Meta ads, and we also get quite a bit of traffic from Facebook and Instagram, and we've got a big email list by now. So we have a weekly newsletter, and we're always inviting them to the workshop as their first step to starting
we set out
their
a
journey.
weekly blog as well.
Yeah, so all roads
I
lead
see.
to our workshop, and then from there we invite them into the membership.
How often do you do the workshop?
We used to do it twice a year, but we're now doing it more often because
Twice a week.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we're
Wow.
trialing twice a week.
So let's talk about that shift, because that's a big shift.
Yeah.
Going from twice a year to twice a week,
Yeah.
like that is a dramatic. So what changed? What was your thinking around that?
A lot of people, when you're excited, you want to start now. And we always thought that we had to bring in cohorts so that we can dive deep and spend the time with them. But then we realized if we bring in smaller cohorts, and we almost just needed permission to run it more often, and we got it the last time we saw you in person from Ricardo, who did a presentation. And it's been working really well for us.
Got it. So are you delivering the workshops live?
We have delivered it live 26 times.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we do the training portion as a pre-recorded, which is actually better because the team is there to support and answer questions. And because of our time zone issue, we're when it's nighttime in the US, it's daytime in South Africa. So now we're able to provide better time slots.
Okay, so you're running ads every week for these workshops. You have a variety of different times that they can pick and choose from. Have you found what have you found that's working really well for the ads? Because I know when you're doing launches, say once or twice a year, you are basically got to learn in the moment, because what learned last year doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work this year. But when you're doing it ongoing, you have a lot more opportunity to iterate. Am I right in that?
100%. And the risk is so much lower because our ads, we don't switch it off, and we get to test it twice a week. We make a tweak, we test it. We make a tweak, we test it. And the risk is lower because if a cohort is a bit of a dud, then in terms of return on investment, then it kind of evens out. So it's not a train smash.
When we were doing it twice a year, we used to have a 3-week runway with ads. And it's really hard to scale ads up in 3 weeks. Like Facebook, Meta actually disqualifies you. The ads start
Penalizes
getting super, they penalize you, and it starts getting really expensive per lead. But now that we're running everyday ads, it's less than half the price that we used to pay per lead, I'd say.
Yeah. So we also, you asked about what tweaks we did in terms of ad learnings. So small things that we tested just targeting the northern US market, and then our ads were a little bit higher, and then we switched on Canada and the UK, and then it halved. And then we did a VIP upsell, and that halved the ads again.
One of the things that you mentioned was that you charged a VIP or you had a VIP offer. And when people purchase that, it then gives you more front-end revenue. Therefore, overall, your ad costs or your per lead costs come down. So it's a free workshop, and this is a paid upsell. Am I right in that?
100%.
Okay. And so what are you offering in this paid upsell?
Yeah. So you join the free workshop, and then you get the VIP, and we've got a little bump as well for $10. So the VIP is $37. And the VIP basically gives them a replay because people are busy. And then it gives them resources to run their first class. So it gives them everything they need to run their first class. It gives them the supplies they need, where they can find the supplies, a directory, and the replay. And then the bump gives them a transcript of the workshop. So if they miss it, they can consume it in a different way, plus a workbook. So, and the bump we've seen, I think there's like a 70 or 80% conversion on the bump.
What?
Yeah.
$10.
It's
no-brainer.
Yeah. So it's actually the 37 plus almost plus the $10 as well for that. And that's been working really well. But what we do is in the workshop itself, we tell them we'll give them a refund. Not a refund,
a credit.
A credit. If they join the academy, we credit the VIP off that. So it's an added bonus where they don't feel that now they, get doubling up on the same information when they join the academy, and it gives them that extra nudge just to step over the line.
I love it. So that's like a reason for them to act now.
Yeah.
And do you have a deadline by which they need to make a decision to be able to get that, or is it open all the time?
Join the academy.
Yeah.
We've got a 48-hour
I got you.
cycle after they've viewed the workshop, then they can.
So in the
join 48
presentation, you're
hours.
basically like, hey, come join us in the academy, and we'll also give you a credit for what you've already paid for the VIP if you join in the next 48 hours. Got it. That's awesome.
We're trialing something now based on feedback from you from last month's Q&A. So we get a good portion of people who watch it live, and then they go through this funnel. And we had a chat with you last month about how people's consumption habits are changing. And some people, just can't make it to the 60-minute workshop. So now we're doing a different sequence for people who don't watch, whereas we're always prompting them to sign up for the next workshop. But what we're doing now, this is brand new, we're just testing this now, is we've taken the 4 secrets that we share in the workshop, and we've created an email per secret, and we give them a bit of juicy detail about that secret, we just from the actual script from the workshop, and we just tell them the first secret is this, and it's a bit of a part 1 of 4 type of series.
Yeah.
And at the call to action is sign up for the workshop, and you can get real life examples. You can do this exercise for yourself real time, the back of the napkin. And but we've written it a way to make it really interesting and to sort of open the loop to say, oh, I want to watch this workshop. And then they get the next email, it's all spaced 1 day apart. And then we get a lot of people signing up for the workshop just from there. And then, so that's something we're trialing just to get more people back into that.
It's a different way of consuming the
Totally.
workshop. And they also then get access to the 48 hours once they're through those emails as well.
They get an offer at the end of that.
I love it.
But at a different price point. The workshop people get a special price because they actually consumed the
consumed
workshop.
it live.
That's one of the bonuses.
Yeah.
I love how you just continue to experiment, and how this whole shift in the model of going from a couple launches a year to, multiple a week has opened up so many opportunities for you. I want to shift gears a little bit because you guys crossed a major milestone this year. And, one of my favorite moments was getting a message from you that says, we've done it. And you sent me a screenshot. And it was a major business milestone. And I just want to take a moment. And first off, I want to talk about that. When you are both very goal driven, that is clear right from the get-go. But when you cross that milestone, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, we did it. And now we have a bigger milestone for this year.
The milestone is a bonus. I was chatting to my dad last week and just saying the fun we're having, figuring out this game and testing and learning and winning and losing. And, Christelle and I go for a long walk every day, and we just thinking let's try this and let's try that. So the milestone, the revenue that we're making is really the added bonus, the fun that I'm having with my sister, building something, the impact that we're seeing on the women empowered to start their own businesses, and then all the kids that are getting to do all of these classes. That is the real rush.
I love it. You guys have built this incredible business, and you've done it together, which gives you the opportunity. You just said you go for walks together on a regular basis. How amazing is that to be able to have that family dynamic as you're building this business?
Yeah, we're very lucky. We live on the foot of Table Mountain. We live probably 100 meters. How many yards is that? I don't know. Away from each other. And we get to hike on Table Mountain most days. And in between the beautiful Proteas, it is, and we get to be sisters and best friends, but we also get to be business partners. So there's always about a 30% component of social chats and shares. And then it's what are we doing next? But yeah, it's fun to do it with somebody who's got similar values. And I don't really have to ever check in on that, which is easy.
The values part really helps a lot. And I think we've got a complementary skill set, which also helps.
It's lucky.
And I guess in the first 2 years of working together, we had a few ooh, and we worked through that. And we just talking through the things and not keeping anything to yourself, I think is important.
What do you think's been the hardest part of growing this business?
Stu, I think there's something that comes with entrepreneurship. And I remember when Steph wanted to, when we started this business, her best friend thought for a moment, he said to her, only 2% of people who start new businesses succeed. Like, this is not a good idea. And now it's like,
don't leave your proper job.
Yeah. You've got a good engineering job. Don't do that. And she proved him wrong. But the reality is that you need to be so resilient. And I think our optimism is maybe sometimes a blessing in disguise. Sometimes it's a flaw in the sense that, like, we see the world with, different glasses on. I think you're probably the same. And I think that goes for a lot of entrepreneurs, where if something goes off or the wrong way or doesn't work out, then we're like, what are the learnings? We don't think like, we know we've lost so much money now. We always see it as a learning. And so it's hard to answer that question.
No, even though you can learn. But I think, like, if coming from professional backgrounds and then telling people, if they're like, what do you do? It's like, we do crafts with kids. They're like, that's so cute, and they put you in that box.
That's
so
true.
People almost don't take us seriously. Like, that's why we love this group, because people know what we're building here. And I mean, we're modest. We won't tell them like, hey, but you know what we've actually built here. We'll never do that. But it's like our little secret, what we're running and behind the scenes.
I find myself to take a shortcut. If somebody asks me what I do, I'm like, I'm an architect, even though I don't do it anymore.
Understand.
Yeah.
So just because it creates an immediate level of like, people understand that. And I studied hard to become an architect, but it's my own insecurities to want to do it.
Because it's an identity change.
It's a huge
we identified as engineer and architect, and it was easy to explain, and people respected that.
Yeah.
And now, I have my best friend saying, dude, don't do it. Like, what are you getting up to? Like, arts and crafts, are you for real?
Yeah.
And then you're like, is he right? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. You start doubting yourself.
Yeah. So you go, like, back to your question, that was the biggest challenge by far. Is like our friends and identity change and navigating that. And
it took a bit of time to pull that out of us, but that's it.
We've also now have a group of members that have scaled quickly. So we are putting together, we've just launched this group that people can graduate into. Once they hit more than 40 recurring students per week in their club, then they can apply to join
amazing.
Our masters group. They came up with that name, our members, the CCC Masters. Christelle's like, sounds like golf. It's like, well, that's what they want. And we've got such a nice group in there now. And because you have different challenges, they're like recruiting now for instructors. They're thinking of different things they need and a different level of support. So we're very excited to be supporting them in a different way. So things are changing. We are doing much more face to face, like not in person, but Zoom type support with our members. We've got a team having success calls, onboarding calls, coffee clubs on a monthly basis, and would love to grow into like in-person meetups as well. So I think, people don't come for the content. They want the support. And with our audience specifically, like the teacher / stay-at-home mom / creative, it's more about them getting the confidence to do this thing than like any content you can give them. So having those chats and, someone just telling them, listening to their struggles and telling them what their next step is they need to focus on makes all the difference.
As we look to wrap, I want to ask each of you, we have an audience of entrepreneurs and they're looking to grow and scale their businesses. You guys have done it successfully. You've had to make some big pivots and, you've had challenges in terms of like COVID happening and the whole business model being flipped upside down and making those kinds of pivots. What advice would you give for entrepreneurs who are wanting to grow and they're wanting to scale, but maybe they feel stuck in this moment?
I have two things. Okay. So the first is just to never stop experimenting. Like, don't be scared to put an idea out there, test it. If it doesn't work, like, do something else. But we had at a point like 7 memberships, and then we consolidated it all because we wanted to test. We needed data. We wanted, to see what resonates with people. And to never stop experimenting and testing, and to not feel scared to do it, because it really helps you to shape your offer, your messaging, and all of that. And the second thing I'd say is to get a community, get a support, get one mentor to listen to, like cut out all of the noise, get one person, you're our guys to listen to, and the support. Join a group that can help you get to the next level.
Oh, that's well said. Thanks, Steph. What about yourself?
Yeah, first thing I also wanted to say is a good mentor and just go for it. I think we often get so caught up in our own minds where you postpone. And yeah, the freedom that we've gotten because of this, anybody can do it as long as you believe in yourself. And I think there's something to be said for confidence. And we find ourselves still struggling because English is not our first language. We were having breakfast this morning with the group, and I find myself struggling to find certain words. And then some of the other people there who are famous, there's one person who is a famous actor, and he's got all the confidence in the world, and he just streams confidence. I'm like, I want to have his confidence. That's amazing. But I think, we've gotten this far with our insecurities around language. And so if we can do it, anybody can do it, and just start.
It has been awesome to chat with you about what you've done. And I just want to take a moment and acknowledge you both. Like, the fact that you have built this incredible business, you've done it together as sisters. It gives you the time together. It gives you time to be able to have fun. I can't count how many times you have said in this interview how fun you are having in this business. And I think that that's just such an incredible gift. And the way that you just continue to serve and helping all these people running these craft clubs, and then the extension of that are all the kids that are being impacted through your work. And I hope that you take a moment and just soak it all in, because it's been amazing to watch the journey, amazing to see you reach milestones, and then awesome to hear how you're like, and we're just getting started. Yeah. You know, we got someone who we want to achieve. And so it's been incredible. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thanks, Stu.
Yeah.
What a ride. If Christelle and Steph changed how you think about pivoting an offer or getting your ads to pay for themselves, you'll want to be here next week, because we're going to talk to another founder doing it their own way with a story that you won't see coming. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. Oh, and grab the sisters' full playbook free in the description below. We'll see you next time.